Hello everyone, and welcome to the Deeply Renegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deeply Renegade, and I'd like to welcome you guys to episode 203. Today is Sunday, October 15th, 2017, and I'm glad you could join me today. Recording a bit late. We just got back from a trip to Arkansas, rock climbing. I have a decent number of scrapes to show for it. So, it's much later than usual, and for some reason I probably have quite a lot to talk to you guys about because it's been a few weeks, so, whatever. So, I feel like this is well deserved. And then what's crazy is that I'm then flying to New York. So, I'll have a few days in New York City and then right back, so, craziness. I'm not probably ready yet. I feel pretty unprepared unless I'm like spinning the entire time. Which doesn't seem like the odds are high for that one. So I guess I'll show the FO first. This is what would it be? I finished this probably Tuesday. There was a little bit of a snafu with my travel last weekend, which then resulted in us staying an extra night in Ohio, which was unfortunate, but such is life. Or the flight was never canceled, it just got delayed 17 hours, so as such, I got some more knitting time on this and was able to finish. So this is my Rock the Casbah. I even had a chance to block it. So this is the Cindy Garland pattern that I'm knit out of the Simply Stunning string in the Blue Calypso and Fog colorway. And so this went with me to Michigan. Did I even record after that? I don't know. Probably. It then went with me to Columbus, and then it was done. So not too bad. It is a pretty big shawl. I haven't had a chance to weigh the leftovers, but there was not very much blue left because I used more blue than the pattern called for, and then made the garter section a little bit bigger to match my bigger blue sections. I think I was supposed to have 8 rows, and I did 12. I wasn't paying attention. But everything turned out quite lovely. So it's totally a, what would it be, a wrappable amount. It's also long enough that it can go from behind. It's my wingspan wrapped around my neck, so that's a pretty good length. The wrong side, while looking sort of crazy, isn't all that bad. But I definitely like the right side a lot better. So what would it be? So those were really my only modifications to the pattern, was that I accidentally did extra large blue blocks, which is that kind of a surprise for me. Not so much. And totally a really cool knit overall. Everything was very color fast, so that was nice, because that's, what would it be? This week I was wearing my butterfly socks. I don't even know if I was podcasting when I knit those. Probably not. What ended up happening was that the white was not very color fast. It was the cheapest sock yarn I ever came across, but there's a reason. It was not a good value. And so my Indy dyed blue, and whenever I wash the socks, it just got covered in other socks dye. So that pair of socks does not look as good as the day I knitted it all. It was so gorgeous while I was working on it, but it couldn't stand to wash. I'll have to knit another rose hyper pattern because that was nice. But, so, maybe the only downside is that when you have it wrapped up this way, you can't see this motif here, but that's probably not the end of the world. But happy that it's done. want to be really nice, very soft yarn. So very happy with how everything turned out on this guy. So yay, FO! I'm feeling like I'm getting close to another one, but I could be totally wrong. So yay, rock the Casbah. Yeah, no, this would totally right behind me, no problem. And then you could actually see that little other motif as well. So what would it be? And it's more crescent-y than, actually this looks like really cute. It's more, it actually has more crescent increases than it does triangle, so it looks like a giant triangle, but not so much. The other thing was that I didn't pin it out. Like, I got my wires out, my pins out, I'm like, I don't care. And I think it turned out fine. I didn't want to, like, stretch it out too much, so whatever. Cute. So this will have to make the rounds at some point. I don't know whether or not I'll be bringing it to Rhinebeck. I suppose that's a decent piece to do that with. Or would it be every single recently finished FO is coming on? I haven't decided. So one thing that I was really hoping to finish today and didn't, and I think I was hoping to finish the row and forgot, so we'll just finish the row because that's not fair. We can handle that. We can do that on ladder. So the other thing that got a lot of love this weekend was my Color Affection, so that's the Vera Valimaki pattern that I'm knitting out of my Nest hand spun. So it's interesting how I think my yarn barfed on me, and it was dark in the car, so I didn't really have a good way of detangling aside from just like shoving everything further down to be filled with regret later, as you do. Oh, that isn't the, it doesn't matter. So this is the other end of the shawl. I still have to work all the way back, so we'll finish this short row and then turn it around because I'm apparently far. So I am this close to being done with the 3-color section of this shawl. I'm not sure if I'm going to mod the pattern because I still have oodles of yarn left. Like, not enough that it's like awkward, but oodles. So I guess it doesn't really matter at this point because I'm not finishing this row. I thought I was near the other end, but I think because of the tangle I have going at the moment, it just looks like I do. It's gonna take maybe a little bit of time and daylight to properly untangle this bad boy because I think it is now begetting future tangles or something like that. So what I've done is I've taken 3 similar colorways that have been spun 3 different ways. One of them as a true, or one of them as a fractal 3-ply, which is my Chautauqua. One of them as a spun end-to-end and chain plied, which is my Shoshone. And then the last one was a randomly dyed thing that I had ripped to pieces and then recreated a gradient with. And that is my Khaleesi, which I think was supposed to be Khaleesi, I'm guessing, but whatever. It was like sort of a Game of Thrones reference, but not quite. So that's a little bit less bad. So this got lots of love. Now, what I'm not sure about, at some point I did throw a marker in this, but I'm betting it wasn't during a time of podcasting, but some maybe conveniently okay. So here's a marker that I put in so I could keep track of where I was on this guide. I worked pretty hard to get it to the 3 color section, and this is how many rows I've done of the 3 color section here. And I now have only a handful more to go of this side, so let's see. Okay, so I have about 9 more rows before I'm done using up all the stitches here, which is interesting. Well, it's interesting maybe simply because, what is it? It is interesting to me because that's not too much more, but I probably did 3 of them on the entire drive back to Arkansas. So in some ways I am not close to being done with the shawl at all. But it definitely is looking far more substantial now than it was earlier. So what you can see here is that color affection diagonal thing, and then you can actually see all of the blocks here. So I have my 3-ply here, and then my striping section of my 3-ply and my chain ply, and then I have this long gradient, and you can see how it started teal and it is now yellow. So on the far end over here, it's been sort of entirely yellow for this time, and then on this end is, let's see, probably the thickest part here would be where it's been teal for the longest. But honestly, I think I like the wrong side of this shawl better, for whatever reason. I just like how the colors seem to meld a little bit better on this side. So, or there's a little bit more blips of my end-to-end chain ply variant. So, well, I really have to go all the way back. So, I probably did 6 rows. And then I have 18 more to go before I would go on to the next section. So, I still have quite a lot of yarn. This is probably the smallest remaining amount, but I still have probably several rounds to go of this. What it be? So this is going from purple to, it has purple, red, seafoam, golden, yellow, and orange in it. And this is adding the purple pops that I really like in this colorway. Here is my Chautauqua, which has like very subtle things going in, but it still has that yellow and that seafoam and then this sort of like rusty red color. And then the last one, which I think I rewound the ball, and it just seemed like it was never going to end, so I've knit all the seafoam out of the gradient, and I'm now sort of in this yellow to seafoam section for whatever reason, and then it transitions to an orange before it gets to the rusty burgundy red color. But they do definitely all go together, and they do contrast with each other, so I am getting the obvious stripes, so in that regard it has been a win. So it's finally looking a little bit more yellow now. Now the question, which I think I know the answer to at this point, is probably what's going to end up happening is I'm going to knit until I run out of probably the skein with the purple in it, which won't be too many rows past where it was supposed to end anyways, and then launch into the border so that I can get further down into the gradient. What I'm not sure about is whether or not I would need to, what I'm not sure about is whether or not I would need to, like, break it break the orange off so it's not there, or knit through it. It seems like I have so much yarn left. But at this point they're really long rows, so it's probably okay. I don't know. There's some time to probably think about it. Now, the other knitting project that I brought with me on the trip, along with random other knit things, okay, everything's all accounted for, is this sock. So this is the Aberdeen sock. It is a Ivana Reynolds pattern that I'm knitting out of Trekking XXL, and I have turned the heel and I am cruising away on the foot. So I'm halfway through a repeat of the chart now. I haven't tried it on, but this is very stretchy, so I think everything's going to be fine. It looks like a normal sock off the foot, so I think everything's good there. But it is a very gorgeous little pattern. So, so it has this cable and lace thing, and then it has like a little cable going down the heel. It also has like cables going the side of the foot that'll go all the way to the toe, which, and whatever, it's been, when I've worked on it, I've gotten a lot done, but it seems to be that I keep procrastinating and working on it, so whatever. What would it be? I'm not sure whether or not this will be the, I'll have to measure and see basically from point to point how much distance that's covering to figure out whether or not I can fit in another repeat or not. They do have like a transition depending on how long the foot is. So this might be my last repeat of the pattern, and then it would be pretty simple knitting from there on out, which is probably fine. And whatever is going to be in a shoe anyway, so what does that matter? So far so good. It's been a lot easier to read the pattern. Whatever, I'm starting to get into this section now, which was maybe a little bit less intuitive. So the first part of it's pretty intuitive, and the second part you're like, check every so often to make sure everything's okay, which is fine. It's been fairly good knitting. This was what I worked on entirely yesterday. So what was it? On Thursday it was easy to... On Thursday I think I brought the shawl with me to the wall, I believe. On Friday I brought the shawl and everything with me to the wall, and that was silly, that was too much crap. So then on Saturday, all I brought was the sock, and then on Sunday, all I brought with me to the wall was a sock, and just left the bigger project in the car, and the spinning. So that was just too much crap. Now what I'm not sure about, well actually I'm pretty sure at this point, I don't think that these projects are gonna get me all the way through whatever, several days of vacation. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do next. What I was thinking about and ended up winding yarn for, which is conveniently on the Nosta pins. Still, all of my Nosta pins are Sharpie markers. So we've got a maroon Sharpie marker and a hot pink Sharpie marker. So what I did, or what was it? One of my SSK 2015 purchases was a sock blank from the Sheep Dreamery, which I don't think that they are in business anymore. But it was a double knit sock blank, so I spent a decent amount of the car drive to Arkansas unwinding it and it's really, really pretty. So the places where it was double knit resulted in the dye not striking, so it looks super duper saturated, but it's actually sort of has all these white speckles in it, which I think is really cool. So I could start some little socks. I could just carry it around in my bag forever, probably, and then have socks. And what would it be? I bet that would be enough. And just do some vanilla, like 2x1 ribbing socks, which are my pepper. I could also break out some other stuff that I have in the stash. There's all sorts of interesting things hanging out in the stash. It's definitely feeling pretty full right now, which is funny because going to write books. But there's probably a handful of things that could go together fairly easily. I have some, like, I have just all sorts of random stuff. So it could be the case where I could, like, start knitting a thing that I could, like, throw into my women's group Christmas thing, because everyone was hoping I knit something for them last year. So that would go over really well. Just, like, do, like, a simple hat or something. I also was, like, eyeing all my sock scraps and figuring out whether or not I could make crazy socks with them. There's a lot of possibilities, but I don't feel like I have a lot of time to sit down and figure out what it is that I really want to work on. Maybe another thing floating around my head was like a foolproof cowl, but I haven't really been wearing my cowls, so that seems silly. If it was all those bright colors, would I? Maybe. So, I haven't decided yet. I'm not sure that a hat would be enough, so I probably would want a bigger project. Something that's just pretty mindless knitting. I was hoping that my color affection would be that, but it's almost done. Now there might be some long hours of knitting. That might have been, that was probably 45-minute rows. There was some reading stuff on the internet for the hour or so, but craziness. There's no shortage of options. I could also, for example, start my breathing space sweater, which is hanging out all the way up there, and all sorts of other crazy, what would it be? My handspun shelf is like overflowing, so that's a problem. I need to be more, or what would be, my handspun no longer fits in the cubby, so it seems like it's piling up right now. Not that I don't have plans to make more, so details. But I probably do need to start something new, and maybe the socks are enough with all of the other stuff I have going on. Because I still need to make like a second one of these socks, and I was feeling insecure about my trip knitting foolishly. Because if I'm trapped on a desert island with only those socks, they seem to go over fairly well. So, what else do I have? I have probably done another color sequence on my Greenwood Fiberworks spin, so there we go there. So, all sorts of pretty colors coming through. I still have plenty. Well, it's getting smaller now. unless that's not the ball I have attached to this. I may have rejiggered slightly. This one? This one? No. Somewhere in here is the ball. Yeah, that's this guy. So I still have quite a bit left to go on this. So it's not like I'm going to be running out of projects anytime soon. But this one is my travel project. I did work on it a little bit. I didn't spin at the wall. My hands are covered in chalk and pretty rough, so that was silly to bring that all the way to the wall. But coming along, slowly but surely. The other thing is my Torfino spin, and I actually brought up the balls, so I'm working through the small balls first, and then I'll do the big ball last and put it all in one bobbin. But I still have, 3 more small balls and most of the 4th to go. So I think I got a little bit done on it. Not a ton. I was a little bit more focused, I think, on the color correction this week. But I do, to stay on track, I do need to finish this in October. And that might be a little bit of a stretch based on the fact that I'm going to be gone during the prime crafting time. But, oh well. It'll be a different type of crafting. I'm not bringing my wheel with me. So I did do a ridiculous bit of spinning preparation. And I have no clue when I'm going to start this project, but I got it ready. So the Passionate Spinner is a German podcaster who put out a video on combining different braids for sweater spins. And what would it be? So there's probably the round one was it went through her knitting community, because whatever, I don't watch, so whatever. Then round 2 was it went through the Sweets Off the Wheel community, which would be, I have some spinning friends who really, really love that group a lot. And that was like their Tour de Fleece project. And then, what was it? I joined a new spinning group called The Fun Onion, and it is now working its way through them. I'm not sure when the spin is going to finish. It may take a while. Oh well, I will be meeting the Queen Onion, whatever, this week, so I can probably convince her to delay. Until I finally have some bandwidth. And so what I did was so I'd ended my nest club because I got way underwater on the club. And I took 5 of my bumps of nest fiber and combined them together. With an eye to, what was it? I had some colorways that were a lot of purple and orange for some reason, and then I threw in something that was probably more on the teal and blue end to sort of balance it out a little bit. And then I followed the Passionate Spinner's tutorial on how to combine. So I put in Muse and Poppy, Aminar, which I was unsure about. Like, it's definitely far more on the orange end than I would normally prefer. Elixir, which was a purple and orange blend, and then Fairy Tale, which was sort of like a purple and peach. The Muse was, was probably more bright, and then the Poppy had like red, orange, blue in it. So with their powers combined, which maybe this time of night isn't the best. So what I did was I took them all, I broke them up, and they're all different types of fiber. So superwash merino, merino silk, Falkland, Finn, all sorts of things. And then I put them together in this bag. So this is all 5 bumps stripped into bajillion little pieces, never to be put together again. And so, if you guys can see, this is sort of the palette that I put together. So, decent amount of blues, but then also purples and oranges as well. And you can even see here, like there's a little bit of pink there, for example, which I think that's the poppy. So, all sorts of crazy colors, and then I mix them all together and strip them. Effectively speaking, I turn the braid into 64ths by quartering it and then quartering the quarters. I think that works out. That's like 16 times 4, right? Yeah. So it is now in all sorts of crazy little pieces. Now, what the Passion Spinner was going for was worsted weight. What I am going for is probably fingering. So I ended up splitting it up more so that I would have what would be shorter color runs. Just so what would be things meld together nicely, if that makes any sense. So this would be the case where she wanted whatever she wanted worsted weight or thicker yarn to make sweaters, and I did not want that much. I didn't want that much. So I figured that 5 was going to be plenty extra because it's going to be some sort of crazy unicorn spin. To still make a very nice sweater for me. So I seem to have a lot of like sweater spins lined up. I don't know why. Maybe I'll put it in my spin the bin for next year, because that would be 5 bumps. That could just be my whole stupid bin. So with 5 different braids, so that's 20 ounces of fiber, which is, it's a lot. I could make a decent part of my bin, along with my other thing that's going as well. So I do need to spin some of that this year, though. And maybe I'll have to message one of the moderators for the challenge and be like, hey, I was planning on applying this with something else. Because I wanted to make a marl with my 3 different colors of fleece dyed different colors. So if I need to spin everything, that seems, I still need to like dye the other parts. And I probably have, I bet that I have enough top comb, but I think I want to comb it all and then mix it all up. It's just gonna be a lot of work, but such is life. So it would be the case for what is it? So right now I have it all. I had my first round of dyeing, and then I had a second round of dyeing where I did, what would it be? So my first round of dyeing, I hand painted it and then tried to get it to set, and I don't think I had enough vinegar. My second round, I did more of a kettle dye, and I really liked how that looked a lot. Maybe not as very, what would it be, as varied with many colors per lock, but still pretty nice. And that one turned out more vivid because I think I did have enough vinegar. Oh, well, you live and you learn. So I'll have to talk with them, or message one of the moderators and be like, does it count for the challenge if I just make the singles? And then worry about applying the other bits later? I don't know. I may need to dye all of the sections. But at the very least, I can at least spin part of it and see how everything's coming together and making sure I'm getting everything for the sweater yarn runaway dreams. I don't know. Or figuring out how much I need in order to do that. I'm not sure. So, lots of craziness all around. So, covered all my knitting, covered my crazy combo spin. You'll probably be hearing more about the combo spin later because that's going to be an epic project. I bet I'm not going to get to it this year. I'm debating whether or not I just want to start my breathing space better because it is fairly mindless like the color affection was. It's also a Vera Valimaki pattern. I do need to knit with my hand spun so that it is not sitting on my shelf, but in fact sitting in my closet. So much better place for my knit things. What was it? I did a organization because I was having a hard time finding things and put all my sweaters on one shelf and my shawls on a different shelf and then my pants go on a different shelf. And then I have my drawer for socks and my drawer for t-shirts, but I don't wear a lot of t-shirts anymore. Most of my work attire gets hung up, so. But I do wear blue jeans at work, so that's positive. Craziness. So it was the case where it went through everything, made sure everything was looking good, that sort of thing, so looked good. But what I'm not sure about is whether or not I'm going to go to the podcaster meetup in Rhinebeck. Let me know if I know that someone is trying to hang out. I'm happy to meet up. Would it be, and maybe it would be best to PM some personal identifying information. If you are going to be at Rhinebeck, because I'm going to be there. I don't have very many plans at all. I did look through the list of vendors. I have set up, or what would it be? I'm going to meet up with the Complete Twisted and Arbitrary people. I'm staying with my mother-in-law and her knitting group. I won't be hanging out with the CTA people all the time, but they definitely amp up the excitement factor, if you know what I mean. They've been having a countdown going on since last Rhinebeck. They're gung-ho about it. And my the important parts of my New York City plans are in place. Would be the details will come together in the typical Molly flying by the seat of her pants way, which I'm okay with. As long as it doesn't result in me being late anywhere, I'm pretty cool. I have to download Uber. Such is life. So let me know if you run into me. I would be more than happy to say hi. I'm definitely tremendously excited to be able to go and trying to make sure that I don't do anything too ridiculous. You know what I mean? What would it be? I have 3 sweater wearing opportunities, so I'll have to pick my 3 favorite sweaters for those sweater wearing opportunities. I think it's close enough now. I could, look at the weather and figure out whether or not it's going to be close. I do think I put it on my phone, because I'm sassy like that. Okay. Alright. Shouldn't be too bad. So, let's see. It is currently raining in Rhinebeck, but it is going to be sunny and 70s for the rest of the week. So 70 on Friday, 74 on Saturday, 75 on Sunday, lows 47, 47, 51. And then Monday will also be not too bad. So it looks like they're getting the rain out of the way, and after that, it'll be fine. So that'll mean that I am capable of wearing sweaters that all those, like, northern knitters, they aren't ready for this nonsense. I have trained myself to keep the sweaters flowing, even in, what would it be, adverse conditions. Like, it's not summer, like summer isn't over yet. So I could do something like wear this and my boxy and call it good, and then my 2 crazy colorwork sweaters. I'm thinking it's looking like fingering weight is the way to go. Or this one, like one of my other Volmiso sweaters, who knows? I'm a fan. So it's looking like it's going to be sort of toasty, which I'm okay with. Everyone else will be cursing it, but I am already trained. I can make do with mid-70s. So, probably, I might be able to record next Monday. Maybe. If not, it'll be on the weekend. So, whatever, it'll be another 2-week break. But after that, I think it'll be okay. Probably. It's hard to tell sometimes. Oh my goodness, how do I have 21 emails? What I was trying to do was... Alright. So... yeah, I won't be able to record on Monday. I'm getting back way too late for that. So, such is life. I'll have, like, plenty of slosh time. I got a 7:30 flight on Monday from New York back to Dallas, which I think is all direct. Yeah, it was really good. It was a really good flight. It was a screaming deal. Let's just put it that way. So, I have a 6 o'clock flight on Wednesday, and then it's basically 10:30 to 10:30, going from there. So, it shouldn't be too crazy. The important thing was, like, not flying during my sleeping hours, because that's like... So I think it'll be okay. Well, it's gonna be sort of long. I guess I'm used to doing the Midwest flights, so it's like an hour further to do that, I believe. Whatever, not the end of the world. So, I'm very excited. There's been quite a lot of knitting activity here, and there's going to be quite a bit more. Yeah, so, I'm skipping next weekend, but I'll be back the weekend after that, and I think it'll be a normal schedule for at least a decent run, like weekly, on Saturdays. I'm be so excited to be home on Saturday. What was it? Someone had messaged me like, hey, did you make it back home? Because I was complaining about my 17-hour delay. So I was late. And I finally responded to her as I was driving back here. I was like, yes. And, like, but right now I'm in Arkansas. And he's like, do you ever go to work? I'm like, October was a bad month for work. I'm going to have to write my monthly report about what I accomplished in October and be like, I didn't feel like it. That probably wouldn't be an acceptable answer to my boss, however. But such is life. There's nothing like, would it be, plane rides and rock climbing trips or quality knitting time. So, can't complain about that. And definitely can't complain about, would it be, all the knitting opportunities that I'll have hanging out with knitters. So, yay. So, with that, I hope you guys have a lovely next 2 weeks, and I look forward to talking to you guys next week. So, Take care, guys. Bye-bye.